You're listening to Little Rockers Radio, and today we are happy to be back and chatting to the editor of Mother and Baby magazine, Erin Mayo. Hi Erin, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Now, I've been reading the latest issue of Mother and Baby magazine, and one of the articles in the current issue is all about baby sleep, and it's a really interesting read as it takes a different approach to what you generally see when we talk about baby sleeping. It's really informative, and I think it helps to give us a more relaxed approach. So I wanted just to start off by asking, how do baby sleep cycles vary from adult sleep cycles?
Yeah, I really like this story too because we do sort of expect that once we get baby home, after a couple of weeks we'll be back to sleeping all night through and that kind of thing. And a little bit concerned about our babies not sleeping like they're supposed to, but you know what? If they're waking up every 45 minutes to an hour, they are sleeping exactly like they should be sleeping, which is a real different tack from what most sleep stories talk about. So the big difference is in our REM, which is our rapid eye movement sleep, and our non-rapid eye movement sleep. So the rapid eye movement sleep is sort of that. The next is the sort of second sleep phase where there's, high level activity in your brainwave, and it's when you're dreaming and that kind of thing. And the non-rapid eye movement sleep is sort of that drowsiness and that light sleep, as you're sort of starting to nod off. Now, the difference between the two is the sleep cycles of an adult last for around 1.5 hours.
Right.
The sleep cycles of a baby actually only last for about 45 minutes, which means that they have more sleep cycles than what we do. So there's more likelihood that they're actually going to wake up in between those sleep cycles. So whereas we might sort of get only a few short sleep cycles throughout the night, our babies could get up to 16 different cycles. And each of those cycles means that your baby will return to a drowsy sort of state and possibly wake up. And so you might need to give them a little bit of help getting back to sleep.
It's interesting, isn't it? I remember the first week or so when we were home with Bub, it felt like he slept all the time, and then all of a sudden you end up with this child that is waking up every 40 or 45 minutes and catnapping. And I remember putting my son into the pram and continuing to walk with him afterwards just to try and get him to have more sleep. So I'm curious to know if we can, how we can encourage our babies to drift from one sleep cycle to the next, even if they do rouse slightly.
Yeah, look, it's more about teaching them the cycles, really. In the beginning, there's sort of not a huge amount that we can really do about the fact that they are waking up in that sort of 45 to 60-minute sleep cycle because that's what they're meant to be doing. But some of the things we can do is just making sure, like maybe the temperature's still quite warm. So some simple things as being in a cold cot might be enough to wake him up. So if he's going into that drowsiness, new sleep cycle, that might be enough of a change of environment, but that might be the kind of thing that wakes them up. So, and then some of the other things is just getting babies used to, daytime and nighttime. And this doesn't usually happen till around 12 to 14 weeks. So don't expect that your baby's going to be sleeping through the night at 6 weeks. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And some of those things are, making sure that, during the daytime, and this again goes completely against the grain of what a lot of us do, which is, try and make daytime. Don't use blackout blinds and things like that to make it unofficially dark, because several studies have shown that this actually has a negative effect on circadian rhythms.
Yep.
So during the day, leave the blinds up, let them sleep in natural light. At night time, sort of try and admit any blue light triggers, and that's from sort of energy light saving light bulbs, televisions, mobile phone screens, and sometimes even their night light is enough to kind of emit enough blue light that will actually kind of wake them up a little bit.
We forget that they're so new to the world, don't we? That they're not born with that body clock that you just spoke about, and that we do need to teach them the difference between day and night. And I think there's a lot of pressure. We hear about babies sleeping through from 6 weeks or earlier, and we can tend to focus a lot, especially when we're tired and overwhelmed, a lot on our little ones sleeping through. So I'm keen to know, what advice can you offer new mums who are feeling overtired and knee-deep in that first 6 to 8 weeks of baby's life?
Ask for help.
Yes.
If someone, is coming over, maybe it's a friend or your mother or mother-in-law or whatever, don't be afraid to go off to bed for an hour for a bit of a nap. If you can. I don't feel that you have to entertain. People should understand that you're tired. There's that old saying as well, sleep when your baby's sleeping, and we always go, yes, well, what are we going to do who's going to do the cooking and the cleaning and the housework and all that kind of stuff. You know what? That can wait.
Yeah.
So as soon as your baby goes to sleep, and I used to joke, my son used to wake up, I used to think, oh, just a little bit of work. And every time I opened up the laptop, he would wake up without it, and so it would never get done. And I'd think, gosh, all I want to do is send off a couple of emails and have a little bit of a nap. Well, go and do the nap first. The emails can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I always say that with your first baby, you should definitely sleep as much as you can. I think it's much harder once you've got a second child and a toddler. It's much harder to get that rest in, isn't it?
Definitely. Or, even just have a little lay on the couch, get some rest. But I think this is the thing I really like about this story is that, as you said, we do get so overwhelmed and so caught up in them sleeping through the night at 6 weeks. And really what this article basically explains is that they're not supposed to, so don't put that pressure on yourself and don't put that pressure on them, because that's not how they're wired at this early stage.
Yeah, it just takes the pressure off a little bit, doesn't it? And that's what having information and knowledge allows you to do. Now, there's more information on a range of topics from crying, your bub's developmental stages, and superfoods that your tot will love, all in the current issue of Mother and Baby magazine, available at newsagents and selected Coles stores, as well as online. The links are also on our website at www.littlerockersradio.com.au. Thanks for joining us on Little Rockers Radio again today, Erin. It's been great to chat to you.
Pleasure as always.
Thanks, Erin. That was Erin Mayo, editor of Mother and Baby magazine on Little Rockers Radio. Thanks for listening.